Seeing such suffering had a huge impact. We were all at home watching it together.
Dawn, and as the sun breaks through the piercing chill of night on the plain outside Coram, it lights up a biblical famine, now in the 20th century. This place, say workers here, is the closest thing to hell on earth.
When it finished, we were silent, stunned by what we had seen. I then said that I'd love to go and help. And to my surprise and delight, you all agreed that I should do that. That was amazing.
So moved by Michael Buerk's report, my mother was soon working in a remote part of western Ethiopia in a tiny village called Mote.
Around the world, it's time for Live Aid. Wembley welcomes their Royal Highnesses, the Prince and Princess of Wales.
Sunday the 14th of July, 1985, Nikempty. By all accounts from the BBC World Service, the Live Aid concert seems to have made a huge impact on the world's goodwill towards the starving in Africa. I was trying to explain to a bearer this morning what it was all about. I detected tears in the corner of his eyes when he heard, "We are the world, we are the children," but nonetheless found it quite hard to appreciate that virtually the whole developed world were wishing voluntarily to help Africa.
Working long, difficult hours in the feeding stations and sometimes driving for days building roads along the way, my mother kept her diary, often writing only by candlelight.
16th of July 1985, Mote. If there are going to be scenes etched forever in one's mind, if the heart and soul are to be seared and scarred, if one is to break and cry out in despair with grief and frustration, if one was to be faced with a feeling of total inadequacy and impotency, then today was surely that day. By 800 hours, many people were sitting on this ground, together with their children, wearing in most instances only their old mud-stained beige shamas wrapped around their skeletons that reminded me of the shroud of death. Some people did die today. Some people lay motionless on the soaking wet ground, and only when a stethoscope was placed on their heart did I know that they were still just alive. Some children were fitting as they lay either on the grass or in their mother's limp arms. Some parcels of bones were wrapped in tighter skin than others. Most children seen, examined, weighed and measured were only 50% of their height for weight. No one pushed, there was no disorder. The mothers and fathers divided and made a path clear for us as we came and went from the registration hut, and fell down and clutched our skirts and feet, weeping, begging, pleading, and dying.
It was my mother who inspired me to become a photographer and to document stories of inequality in the UK and around the world. Since then, I have been in post-war Kosovo, covered the rebuild of the devastating earthquake in 2010 in Haiti, and most recently I'm working on a project about the growing food crisis in the UK. I want to go back to Ethiopia and step into my mother's footsteps. I want to meet those she helped and wrote about so movingly in her diary. And I also want to show, above all, how the most mediatic of humanitarian crises was lived from the inside.